I hate ketchup. But I hate cancer more. I never thought that cancer would change me, that running would shape me, or that ketchup would inspire me. Today I'm going to share with you how cancer, running, and ketchup taught me an amazing lesson about resilience, grit, and momentum. In 2017, I never thought that cancer would change me, that it would rip my life apart. After a road trip with our high school girlfriends, my then 34-year-old wife, Amanda, was in excruciating pain. It was the kind of pain that you just know we need to go to the hospital. After several tests at 2 a.m., her doctor came in and sat down and said, "You have cancer. You need to see an oncologist next 24 to 48 hours. There's nothing else I can do for you here. Go home and get some sleep." I'm sorry, get some sleep? How? How were you supposed to sleep after hearing that dreaded word, cancer? I was 32 at the time, our son, not even 3. How do we handle this? How do we fight this? And over the next 16 months, she fought, and she fought hard. 25 rounds of chemo, 50 rounds of radiation, multiple surgeries, and multiple treatment centers before she ultimately passed in February 2019. One night, about 6 months before she died, we were watching TV. And in that moment, she wanted to have a conversation that I was thoroughly not ready for, and now extremely thankful for having. She said to me, "I need you to make 3 promises to me before I die." Each promise involved our son, who was not even 3. First, she said, "Promise to read him the Harry Potter books before you watch the movies." I'm proud to report that we just finished the Deathly Hallows last month. Done. Second, she said, "Don't raise a jerk." Now, in the moment, she definitely didn't use the word jerk, but for the TEDx stage here, I think you get the point. He's 11. I feel like we're doing a fantastic job, but we'll call this one in progress. And finally, she said, "When you feel ready, you can get remarried. But promise me that you will find someone who loves our son like he is her own." Nora McKerney, in her TED Talk, talks about grief and shares a simple idea. We don't move on from grief. We only move forward. And though the grief of her death had not yet struck on the day Amanda was diagnosed, I started to grieve the life that we had planned, the future that cancer was ripping away from us. See, when Amanda gave me permission to remarry, that was the first time that I realized that I would need to move forward. When I was ready, on my own time. But in that moment, Amanda gave me permission to live my life, to find happiness, to find joy, to find love again. But she also asked me to find the resilience that I needed to carry on for our son and for me. In case you're curious, I'm thankful to report that I'm engaged to a woman that meets every one of Amanda's criteria. Done. Now, 7 years after Amanda's death, I still have not moved on because I am forever changed by her death. I can never live another moment of my life without knowing that experience, without seeing death firsthand. So I've moved forward, a changed person, one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, at my own speed, because forward is a pace. In 2019, I never thought that running would shape me, that it would be what I planned my life around. The day after she died, I had to tell our then 4-year-old son that his mom had died. His pain was visceral. I could feel his heart just ripping in half. But on that day, I took my first step forward. See, we've been together for nearly 13 years. And so often as a couple, the things you do, the shows you watch, the music you listen to, are the things you do together. But I had forgotten, what does Alex like? What makes me happy? So I started reconnecting with those things and ended up finding a few new things along the way. A few months after she had passed, I had to start down a health journey. Because our son should not lose another parent because I couldn't take care of myself. So I joined a gym. I walked 500 miles in 102 days. But the biggest surprise? I found running. This was an activity that 2019 Alex absolutely despised. First, I ran a 5K, then a 10K, then a half marathon, 13.1 miles, and then a marathon, a full 26.2 miles. And after running my first marathon, I started chasing the 6 largest marathons in the world, the majors as they're called. New York, Boston, Chicago, Berlin, London, and Tokyo. See, only 28,000 people in the world have ever accomplished this. And as of about 3 weeks ago, I just finished number 5. As much as I love running, marathons aren't for the faint of heart. It is a grueling physical challenge, all while your brain, for hours at a time, is trying to tell you that you are going to die. But in spite of that, I walked up to the starting line of the Berlin Marathon this past September with 50,000 strangers. How did the race go, you might ask? I think this picture describes it all. I share this photo because sometimes chasing our goals, our dreams, looks exactly like this. Destroyed, exhausted, completely ready to give up. But the next picture is the one I am most proud of, taken just seconds later. To me, this tells the story of grit, of having the courage to pick yourself up after nearly giving up, ready to face whatever challenge is in front of us next. See, Berlin was the hardest race I'd ever done, but the only way I finished it was taking it one step at a time. 7 years ago, I refused to get off the couch, and now I am legitimately thousands of miles ahead of 2019 Alex. See, running has shaped so much of my life in the last 7 years. When I started running, Coach Bennett, the global head coach of Nike Running, was in my headphones for hours at a time and hundreds of miles. Recently, he replied to one of my posts after a really tough run. Coach Bennett said, "Great running isn't about following a training plan. It's about making adjustments to a training plan. Cheers to you for being your own best coach. Now recover, because more starting lines await." I actually had the opportunity to meet Coach Bennett at mile 24 of the London Marathon just a few weeks ago. And Coach Bennett is famously known for his quote, "This is about running. This is not about running." And you know what? He's right. See, whether we're running marathons, building our own ideas, or facing the reality of chasing our dreams, we have to show up to our own starting lines every day. We have to build our resilience by consistently practicing. And we have to be our own best coach and understand when we need rest days because we've just been pushing too hard. See, in both running and dream chasing, progress isn't linear. Some days, the easy things feel super easy, but often the easy things feel hard, way harder than they should. And that's okay, because chasing your dreams isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And how do you tackle a marathon? One step at a time, no matter the speed, because forward is a pace. In 2025, I never thought that ketchup would inspire me, that this condiment that I hate would become a movement for a cure. Poet Linda Ellis wrote a poem entitled "The Dash." In it, she describes a man who speaks at a friend's funeral. He goes on to share that a tombstone contains three things: a birth date, a death date, and a dash. And what really matters in life is our dash. None of our possessions matter, but the way in which we live our life, the way we love, and the impact that we make on our own individual worlds is what truly matters. She ends this poem this way: so when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? I survived. I moved forward. But somewhere along the way, I realized I could make my dash mean something more. So in 2023, I started running as a charity runner, fundraising to fight back against cancer. In 2024, my fiance Lindsay and I were at our town's July 4th parade, and she swore she saw somebody handing out ketchup packets. Who does that? So we laughed about it, but didn't think about it for nearly a year. The next summer, I looked up what it would take to be in that parade. The answer? Fill out a form, make a $50 donation. Let's commit to the bit. I mean, who goes to a parade and hands out ketchup packets? I'm in. So in 2025, after fundraising more than $30,000 to fight back against cancer, I was actively fundraising for the Berlin Marathon. But my fundraising had completely stalled. My network was completely tapped out. With the parade only a few weeks away, I started wondering, how could I use ketchup to boost my fundraising? You know, some of life's best ideas come to us while we're doing the mundane. So while mowing the lawn, I kept thinking about that parade. Ketchup, ketchup, catch up. Catch up to cancer, catch up to cancer. And I come running in the house and I say, Lindsay, catch up to cancer. And she looked at me like I'm nuts. But I say it slower. Catch up to cancer. And it clicks, the first spark. I started floating the idea to some friends. How do we tie ketchup and cancer together? I mean, I really kind of hate ketchup. I'm from Chicago. Mustard is the only thing that goes on a hot dog. Ketchup should go in the trash. But you know, I hate cancer more. The next few weeks were fast-paced. I built a website. I started an Instagram. I bought 5,000 ketchup packets, and our family hand-stickered each and every one of them with a QR code. And on July 4th, we handed them out. And on that day, we raised $1,100. My fundraising had found its momentum again. But what I never anticipated was how that spark would turn into a flame. I started sharing content more regularly on Instagram. I started following other runners. I started reaching out to podcasts about being a guest. I got a lot of no's and, candidly, a lot of people who just ghosted me. But slowly, I started to get a lot of yeses. And those yeses started to build a following. And that following, a community. A community of runners and a community of people who've been impacted by cancer. Catch Up to Cancer has taught me that momentum breeds momentum, that you can create opportunities for yourself or put yourself in positions to be at the right place at the right time. Sometimes sliding into a DM, sending a cold email, or just simply asking a friend for help. A spark into a flame. From Instagram to podcast, and from podcast to founding a nonprofit. And now that momentum is creating even more opportunities. We're now the charity partner for a 1,500-person race, as well as have a dozen charity runners specifically fundraising for Catch Up to Cancer. See, building our ideas is terrifying. We are often paralyzed by the fear of rejection. What if people hate it? What if people don't believe in me? And today I challenge you to change that mindset. What if people love it? What if people do believe in me? And what if I took just one step toward building my idea, and then another, and another? See, you can build your idea from a blueprint to a breakthrough by taking it one step at a time, no matter the speed. Because forward is a pace. Cancer, running, and catch up. 3 ideas that seem so completely unrelated, all powered by forward momentum. Our dreams can be achieved the exact same way. Forward momentum. Building your idea might be the hardest thing that you have ever faced. I urge you to face it with resilience. And there will be moments where you want to give up because it is lonely and grueling. I urge you to face it with grit. But to truly turn your blueprint into a breakthrough, you need to build momentum. Your breakthrough moment is driven by tens of thousands of little steps, by your willingness to do the terrifying thing and show up to your own starting line. So when your race gets hard and you want to quit, I hope that you remember that no matter the speed, forward is a pace. Thank you so much.